Storytime. I am your Storytime reader, Ms Nikki. Happy June and happy Pride Month. I'm excited to share some of my favorite LGBTQ books with you over the next few weeks. Starting with today's read aloud titled, It Feels Good to Be Yourself, a book about gender identity. Most of us know who we are at a really young age, which is why this book is really exciting to read, because we want to be able to feel good about who we are in our own gender identities. It's also important to learn about other people's gender identities too. We want to feel good about ourselves, and we need to do our part to make sure other people, like our friends, family, people in our community, people who we meet, feel good about who they are too. Because everyone should feel seen, included, accepted, loved, and respected. Okay, let's begin. It Feels Good to Be Yourself, a book about gender identity, written by Theresa Thorn and illustrated by Grigni. This is Ruthie. She's a transgender girl. That means when she was born, everyone thought she was a boy, until she grew a little older, old enough to tell everyone that she's actually a girl. Girl is Ruthie's gender identity. So the T in LGBTQ stands for trans or transgender. When a baby is born, the first thing doctors tell parents is, "Congratulations! You have a baby girl or a baby boy." That's called gender assignment, when doctors announce that the baby is a girl or boy. Some babies grow up and they don't identify with their assigned gender that the doctor gave them. When a person does not identify with the gender they're assigned when they're born, they are trans or transgender, like Ruthie. This is Ruthie's brother Xavier. Xavier is a cisgender boy. That means when Xavier was born, everyone thought he was a boy, and as he grew older, it turned out everyone was right. He is a boy. Boy is Xavier's gender identity. Sometimes doctors don't always get it right, and they don't assign the right gender. But in Xavier's case, the doctors were right. Xavier was assigned boy at birth, and that's what he identifies as. He is cisgender. There are so many different ways to be a boy or a girl, too many to fit in a book. But not everyone feels like either a boy or a girl. Non-binary is a helpful word that can describe a kid who doesn't feel exactly like a boy or a girl. Bi in the word binary means two. So when we hear the word binary, it means consisting of two parts. I'm sure you've heard this word in your computer science class. In computing, binary is a code of zeros and ones. When we are talking about gender, the binary is boy and girl. But we know that it's not true, because the binary does not exist for a lot of people. So when we say non-binary, what we're saying is that that person does not fit into the two categories, boy or girl. That person may exist in the middle or maybe outside of those categories. This is Ruthie's friend Alex. Alex is both a boy and a girl. When Alex was born, everyone thought Alex was a girl, but Alex is both boy and girl. This is Alex's gender identity. This is Alex's friend JJ. JJ is neither a boy nor a girl. Ever since JJ was very little, they never felt exactly like a boy or a girl. They just felt like themselves. This is JJ's gender identity. And that's how JJ identifies as. We are experts of ourselves. Only you know how you feel and know who you are, and I know how I feel and who I am. It is not up to us to tell anybody based on how they dress, their hairstyle, the way they talk or look, what we think who that person is. If JJ tells me about themselves, I will believe JJ because JJ knows best, and it's okay. We need to celebrate our differences. Alex and JJ are both non-binary. Just like there are many different ways to be a boy or a girl, there are many different ways to be non-binary. Too many to fit in a book. Some kids feel like girls. Some kids feel like boys. Some kids feel like a little bit of both, part boy, part girl. Some kids don't feel exactly like a boy or a girl. They feel like neither. Some kids feel that their gender identity isn't always the same. It's often changing. Some people's gender identity stays the same from the moment that they understand who they are till the end of their life. But that is not the case for everyone. Some people's gender identity may change or shift over time. We call this gender fluid. So, just like a fluid which flows and changes, so too can gender. And even with all these possible ways to be, some kids don't feel any of the words they know fit them exactly right. There are a never-ending number of ways to be yourself in the world. Whether you feel like a boy, a girl, both, or neither, or if you describe yourself another way, that is your gender identity. Your gender identity might match what people thought you were when you were born, or it might not. See, when you were born, you couldn't tell people who you were or how you felt. They looked at you and made a guess. Maybe they got it right, maybe they got it wrong. What a baby's body looks like when they're born can be a clue to what the baby's gender will be, but not always. When people guess wrong, it's okay to let them know. Ruthie was 5 when she told her parents, "I know you think I'm a boy, but really I feel like a girl." Oops, Ruthie was a girl all along. They just didn't know it at first. Sometimes we can't know for sure or assume what anyone's gender identity is just by looking or listening to them speak. It can be okay to ask about pronouns, but it is important to be sensitive. It might not be the right time or place to ask, or maybe the person may not be ready to talk about it. If we introduce ourselves and share the pronouns we use, we can make it easier for the person we are meeting to do the same, if they feel comfortable. When people guess right, it's also okay to let them know. Xavier was 3.5 when he told his family, "I'm a boy. I like being a boy." You might feel like a boy, you might feel like a girl. You might feel like both boy and girl, or like neither. You might feel like your gender changes from day to day or from year to year. You might feel that none of these words describe you perfectly. You might not be sure yet. Maybe you're still figuring it out. Your feelings about your gender are real. Listen to your heart. No matter what your gender identity is, you are okay exactly the way you are, and you are loved. It feels good to be yourself, doesn't it? What's great about this book is that there is extra information and resources at the back. There are some helpful terms to know, other books to read, as well as websites you can visit, and it ends with the author Theresa Thorn and illustrator Grigni's notes. The end. You probably learned some new words or heard some words for the first time today. Or maybe you have heard these words before and have questions. Perhaps you're making connections or you're hearing words that match how you feel. All of these feelings are perfectly okay. We should all take some time and space to feel all of our feelings about this book. Take a listen to your heart and always remember you deserve to be comfortable in your own skin, living, loving, growing, and creating your own story.